for Flabonga Monthrothacube. With Dale and Tony breaking all the rules. Talking tech, biz, and straight up chaos. Quick fire guests, oh yeah, we slay those.
Good afternoon. My name is Dale Rodriguez, and this is Flabonga Monthrothacube. With me today, I've got my amazing co-host,
Tony Stevenson.
Yes, Tony. Yes, and we've got our fantastic guest,
Callum Macrae. Thanks for
Callum.
having me.
Thank you for joining us. How are you this fine and glorious day?
I'm very well. The temperature is above 10 degrees in the UK, so it's a good day to be here, isn't it?
Yep. Whereabouts in the UK are you based?
Based in the Midlands, so our offices are Sutton Coldfield.
No idea where that is, I'm not going to lie.
No, I didn't up until about 18 months ago, to be fair. But yeah, in the Midlands.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to start with one of our generic questions. If you were a biscuit, what kind of biscuit would you be that accidentally portrays your personality and why, but don't just pick your favorite biscuit?
If I was a biscuit, what would I be? It's one of my favourites, but it's not the reason that I'd pick it. I'd probably say a chocolate finger from the famous brand, which I will not say, other brands are available. I'd say that because I feel like it's quite a social biscuit. You know, it's easy to get along with. It's in the pack with others. And somehow people always end up with more than they planned.
That was a fantastic answer.
That
You can tell you work in marketing.
Yeah. What a segue that was.
That was so good.
Very good.
Have you watched the show before, or was that off the dome?
I have seen a few clips, but no, that was completely off the bat.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a really good layman question.
Okay.
What is marketing? What is it? I can't feel it, I can't touch it, I can't hold it, and yet it costs my company tons of money. What is it?
It does. It is, I guess in essence, it's the promotion of your service or product that you offer as a business would be my answer to that. And there's various means of doing that. Obviously, marketing's evolved over the years, but in essence, it's really about promoting your service or your product that you offer.
Cool. So if I want to leverage my OnlyFans, I should come to you to help me out, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I strike you as an OF expert, then sure.
It's called _feetpics_ for days _
I will make a note of that. You know, I'll come back with some constructive feedback.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. What is the difference between sales and marketing? My understanding is two sides of the same coin. Is there a hard and fast rule as this is sales and this is marketing, or is it more nebulous than this?
Yeah, I think from my side, and obviously with the amount of time that I've been doing this, I see that as marketing's responsibility is to generate that demand for then sales to close that demand. So think of it as a bit like a relay race, and marketing kind of do that initial bit, they generate that demand, and then they're handing the baton over to sales to do their job and sell, would be my view on that.
Which one's more important?
They're both important. I mean, obviously, I'm going to be biased. No, I think they're both important. I think for a long time, certainly my early kind of years in the career, I think it probably didn't feel like a level playing field, and it felt like sales was obviously really important because that's the numbers. But I definitely feel in the last 5 to 10 years, there's been a shift where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, marketing's pretty important, and we can't do this without them. I think, yeah, that's probably how I'd sum it up.
Cool. I'm going to jump into the comments real quick. Long-time friend of the show, Sam Green. Hi, all. I hope it's warm with you as it is here in sunny Sheffield. Yeah, it's moderate down in Kent, so everyone's enjoying the sunshine.
Yeah, the sun's shining.
Callum, how was your Easter bank holiday? Were you working or did you have time off?
I had time off, which was lovely. And yeah, got to spend it with my other half, and we're often like passing ships. So it was quite good for us to have some quality time together. So yeah, it was good. Thanks. How was yours?
Mine was more social than I planned because I'm actually a natural introvert, and I ended up seeing people, and I had a great time. I had some great food, did some good things. But just, yeah, I got tired. And Monday was like a lazy, relaxing day. Yeah, but it was pretty chill. Had an amazing pizza, by the way, like some random, stone-fired, oven-fired pizza. It's just like,
Was that from your mate that's got
Nice.
the pizza oven?
sorry,
Was that from your mate that's got the pizza oven, or was that from a professional establishment?
a professional establishment. I went to a place called McNade in Faversham. It's like a really, I won't say famous, but well-known regional farm shop. And they had a food hall day, and these local artisanal pizza people rocked up, and it was delicious. Enduja on pizza is like, whoever invented that.
Yes.
It's good. How was your Easter weekend, Tony?
So my Easter weekend was nice, but it wasn't. So it was an Easter weekend, but this happens every single time there's a bank holiday rolls around. It's like everyone else observes the fact that it's a bank holiday, but at Free Agent, we get given our bank holidays to take whenever we want. So you can take them on the bank holiday days, or you can take them at another time when the world is less busy, which I always do. And like my mum messaged me on the Thursday saying, "Oh, my sister and her are getting together for lunch on Friday." Friday? I work on Fridays. Why is she doing this to me at the last minute? How unreasonable. And then I was like, oh yeah, everyone else is off work, aren't they? It's happened again. Yeah. So it was very nice, family oriented. My daughter was charging around the garden, collecting Easter eggs before 8 o'clock on Sunday morning. Absolutely buzzing. So yeah, it was very nice. Very nice.
Jumping into the comments again, Mahul Zakir. Mahul, he's a newer member of the show, but he's been supporting vehemently.
Passionate lister. Good
afternoon, everyone from sunny London. Mahul, thank you for being here, man. Sam, Mahul, and anyone else listening, feel free to ask Callum questions. You know the show by now. There's no prep. He jumped on 10 minutes before we went live. Very little information about the show, and he's done a great job so far.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Tony, I feel like I've been monopolising the questions. So
you have. You have.
It's my show. I do what I want. Sorry, it's our show. Sorry,
it's the host and the co-host. Exactly. Yeah. So I think one of the best ones I heard ever about marketing and sales that really appealed to my sort of reductive brain was a chap called Andy Lark, who at the time was the CMO for Xero. This was many years ago, talking about like the difference between sales and marketing, and his shortened version of it was marketing, like bring the people to the door, and then it's sales job to get them through the door, which I liked because that felt like a nice analogy. A question for you about the sort of shifting prominences of the two sides to that coin is like, do you think that the like marketing always to me feels like just such a mysterious thing, like that happens that I have such a admiration for, because I don't do it and I don't understand how you kind of like so consistently bridge that gap between there being nothing and then there being something, and that sort of transfer, like I find fascinating. Like what would you put the rise in importance in marketing down to? Like, is it the complexity of all the channels that are available? Like, yeah, like unpack it for us a bit, because I genuinely, and not just saying this because we've got Callum on, I genuinely find it fascinating. Like having sort of felt the warmth of the marketing fires, working quite closely with like Kirsty's team over the last 4 or 5 years, I just find it eternally fascinating how you go and generate interest and custom from like essentially nothing, right? Nothing. So yeah, unpack it.
Yeah. And I think it's a great point, and I think part of that has come from the evolution of tech and all the different channels that have become available to us as marketeers. But even if you strip it back to simplicity, and I'm still a huge fan of like direct mail, for example, if I get something through the post and it makes me turn my head, I think sometimes simplicity works at its best. I think marketing works at its best when it's authentic, when it's cheeky, when that has its place. Ultimately you want to turn somebody's head and get them to act on whatever it is that you want them to do. And I think where the best part I think about marketing is you can have fun with it. It's all about experimentation. It's a bit like kind of going into a science lab every day and putting a bit of an ingredient in this time and seeing what's going to work. And there's not necessarily one simple recipe for success every time. So I think the fact that you get to play around and have fun with it is what makes it such a dark art and mysterious in a way. But some of I guess the best campaigns I've been involved in have been through simplicity and really stripping it back to basics. and something so simple being something so successful. But I think reactive marketing as well is also really important. Obviously, if there's a trend or something that happens or news breaks, if you're reactive to that and quick to that, usually that works quite well as well. But yeah, I think if you can turn somebody's head, or if you can even just get them even getting a laugh out of something or some sort of reaction, it's job well done. I think part of it has always been marketing needs to give leads, and it's a much bigger thing than that, which is again probably a bit of a misconception when it comes to marketing.
I do enjoy. Sorry, mate. I do enjoy the meme that kicks around, which is like there's like a sales guy celebrating with like hitting the gong because he's made the sale, and then there's like marketing, and then it's like sales guy had one conversation, seals the deal, gets all the plaudits, and marketing's over here with their 47 touch points and their lead magnet download and the nurture, the campaign that they've been subject to for the last 2 years. Which I do find it fascinating.
What I was going to ask is, Callum, you mentioned marketing can be seen as a bit of dark art. So on that vein of thought, obviously there's lots of subsectors, sectors, I don't know, elements of marketing. Which element of marketing would be the Voldemort or Sauron of marketing, the darkest of the arts?
It's a good question.
I have a guess, but I want you to say first.
You have a guess, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm being like very granular, I think there's levels of paid marketing that are very much like the dark art. Specifically,
go on, say it.
Kind of channel called P.P.S, which is very much a bit of a dark art. So that's all about kind of Google placements. It's performance max in Google, and it's very much a dark art just because it's very hard to get the detail to know what's actually working. It is very much like you just kind of throwing money into the abyss, to be honest, is the easiest way to put it. And it is a genuine dark art. So yeah, I'd probably say some elements of paid would probably be my answer. Well, I'm curious now as to what you were thinking, Dale.
That was going to be my guess. So SEO stuff. When someone says I'm an SEO optimist, a specializer, and I'll take $5,000, I'll be like, yeah, but no one knows what the algorithms are going to do in the next week. Google changes them all the time. And who claims he knows them? I'm like, do you really? Well, I don't think Google know what they are either.
Yeah, I think that it's an interesting point, because probably SEO would have been my answer probably up until about a year ago. But obviously there's now the new kid on the block of geo. So you've got SEO and then you've got geo, which is AI search, which has just completely flipped the marketing game on its head, really. So I think some aspects of the paid are pretty tricky, shall we say.
Tell us about geo. This is fascinating. I'm really settling in for the ride here.
Yeah.
Wait. Let's zoom in. We're getting serious now.
Okay. So geo is generative engine optimization. So obviously for, I'd say, the last 15 years or so, it's always been, for brands and businesses, it's been about how do I rank #1 on Google. And now with the world of AI, that's massively shifted. So for example, if you go onto Google now and make a search, I think the stat is about 55% of all Google searches will have the Gemini summary now at the top. And that will give you your little summary where it gives you 3 to 5 recommendations. And then again, I think on average, there's 800 million ChatGPT users at the moment weekly, of which about 32% are using it to find services and products. So if you think of people searching traditionally through Google, they're now actually asking ChatGPT, who's the most recommended accountancy firm in Edinburgh, as an example, right? So it's completely changed the game of, there's always been this ambition and goal for businesses to rank #1 on Google, and it's completely changed now with the world of AI.
That's crazy. Another daft marketing question from me to you. Looking at our handsome faces on the screen, we look like an amazing boy band. Which order should we be in to make this look better? Should you be in the middle because you're the guest? Or now do you look like you're surrounded? Or should you be on the left because people read from left to right if they're in the UK? Like, what side should you be on?
It's just an excuse so Dale can move the screen around because it's his favourite thing to do.
I need no excuse. I do.
No, you just do it. Yeah.
I'd say the middle because I'm the rose between two thorns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'm not even insulted. No. Yeah.
So does that I feel like I'm asking way too many professional questions, and we'll jump into some silly ones in the coffee and tea question. But does that mean that, like, so when GPTs landed and LLMs, to me, it was like such a breath of fresh air, because it meant, like, to me, it at least felt like this is how search should always have worked. When I go to search, it should know what I'm trying to get at, and it should give me what I want, because it knows better than I do how to go find that stuff. Whereas it's, for the longest time, felt like when you went to search, like pre LLMs, that essentially it was just fully censored by the money of advertising, in terms of, like, right, whoever's going to pay to sit in that ballpark roughly from what I'm looking at will just come up top, and that's not in my best interests. And that LLMs went to some way, at least, towards leveling that player field a bit more, because it was kind of, you know, actually going to search in the internet rather than or searching the bank of the internet as it was previously. Do you think we'll trend towards a similar situation with LLMs, where they'll just be influenced by what's going on behind them, and sort of end up back in that this isn't in my best interests type situation?
I think that there's a difference with the LLMs, that for now, it's not necessarily something that you're throwing money at. So obviously, I think from a traditional search perspective, obviously, if you go on Google, you typically have the sponsored paid links, which people would be bidding on for pay-per-click, and then you'd have your organic listings. Whereas now, you've got that AI summary at the top, then you've got your sponsored links, then you've got your organic links. So if people, and where this has been quite an interesting trend, is that a lot of businesses we've seen an increase in what we call zero-click traffic. So what I mean by that is, somebody's going on, they're getting that summary from Gemini or from ChatGPT, whatever. They're then actually not clicking as a result at that moment through to a website. So normally, if you're in discovery mode, you might, I don't know, if I'm looking at restaurants in London in a specific area, I'd go on and I'd click on 2 or 3, and I'm going on to research and explore. A lot of people now are getting that recommendation straight from the AI, so it might give 3 or 5 different names, and then what's happening later is that people are going back directly to search for that brand to land on their website to then convert. So there's been quite a reduction in organic web traffic from a lot of businesses, and you know, that's when the panic button gets hit, because we've got less website visitors and all the rest of it. But the thing that we've noticed is, if you actually look at the conversions are either steady or have gone up in most cases, and that's because people aren't just kind of coming to find, or they're in research mode, they're actually coming to you with more intent, because AI is given that recommendation of, oh, this is the best business for me in whatever this search term is. But I think with the LLMs, that's only going to be driven on an upwards trajectory. Like, I think at the moment we're still in its infancy. Like, the stats are really I'd say, like, on the smaller side of things, and they're growing quite quickly. You know, I think the 55% of Google search results showing that Gemini summary, I think the middle of last year was something like 38 to 40%. So it's increasing, you know, very steadily. And I think that's going to be a very interesting trend to see, especially as people are going to, you know, ask ChatGPT or ask Claude, you know, what the best business or product is, instead of going on to Google.
I've got one final thing to say before I stop monopolising the conversations, and then we've got the question. We've got a couple of questions for you, Callum, on this subject.
Questions.
So it's just really interesting, that behavioural change, because what I found, particularly with the example that you've used in terms of, like, somewhere that's like a physical business that I'm looking for, like a restaurant, or and also, like, love the idea of being in discovery mode, because I can think that my wife will try and talk to me and I can say, "Jush, I'm in discovery mode." And
can you?
Well, I'll try it and see. I'll report back, see how it goes. But what I do is
here next week.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I use Google Maps way more than I used to.
Yeah.
So I'll get that recommendation. I'll manually go to Google Maps, go into it, because it'll have pictures in there that are from, you know, like, are easier to access from, like, actual people that have been there, rather than just like the magazine shots on the website. And then I can see where it is, and then I can link through to the website from there. So yeah, I use Google Maps as a much more of a prominent, like, kind of search function tool, because geography is important, right? So yeah, that's interesting.
Well, I think, and to that point, where that's even more interesting, is that because the way that people are searching and the way that their language has changed. So instead of just going in and saying, I don't know, best Italian restaurant in Edinburgh, as an example, right? What your or Italian restaurants near me, is typically the kind of common one. You'd always say like near me on Google or whatever, or you go onto maps and do that. Is now people are going into AI and asking for the most recommended and the most trusted. And by using those different search terms, it's looking for different things. And to that point, one of them, Tony, is like Google reviews. So that's exactly what it's looking for, because it's looking based on that terminology. So that's why reviews are becoming really, really important for businesses. We've got clients of ours who before haven't had many, if any, reviews, and we've had to really say to them, this is really important now because of GEO. And if you've got a chance of appearing, reviews is one of those things that definitely helps. So Google reviews, Trustpilot, all those things do really matter.
All those Anthony Joshua adverts back in the day when I was like, no, I'm not sure about that. Like, they really worked. People were obviously terrified and went and got the reviews. Yeah, you can feel that more, like being asked for it more by businesses as well, and them stressing the importance of it. I still think there's friction. I still think there's friction for Google to reduce. This is a pet peeve of mine. I promise I'll shut up after this one, but
no, you won't.
I won't. But
you won't.
You've got me on a really subject. Really
show is what it is.
Right?
I can see the passion.
Callum now knows you're not going to be quiet, and it's cool. That's why you're on the show.
This winds me up, right? Is when you get an email following an interaction with a company that you've had, and the email is asking for feedback, right?
Yeah.
I want to be able to execute that feedback on one screen without being taken anywhere else or asked to log in for anything. And it grinds my gears so much that you can't do that. So when an email comes and it's like, just 5 stars. I said, yeah, they were brilliant, like removal firm we were using or whatever, like brilliant, 5 stars. And then it takes you somewhere else and asks you to log in, and I'm immediately raging, shutting it down, throw my phone out, just like, I'm going to go and live in the mountains. I can't deal with this anymore. It burns my, it just makes you so angry, because I would review 10, 20 times more businesses, which is probably not of a multiple of 0, because I don't do any reviews purely because you can feel the anger on this subject. Why don't you just make it easy? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
it's a really good point. And Google,
we're gonna have a minute of silence. We're gonna have like 10 seconds of silence. We're just gonna hold on. Callum, you were saying.
Yeah, I could feel your pain, Tony. I think that's a really good point, and that's where people do get frustrated even with Google reviews, because you need to have a Gmail account, for example. So if you've not got a Gmail and you've got an iCloud or whatever, most people still might have a Gmail from ages ago, but that is quite a detractor for Google reviews. But yeah, I get that frustration completely. I think you should just be able to go on and it's there, or you log in first and then you go and do it, rather than do what you need to do and then being asked to log it. Yeah, it's frustrating. I do get that.
Tony, you have more to say on this. Come on, let it out, man. It's a safe space. We listen, but we don't judge.
Nope, that's it. I just think that it just grinds my gears so much. So I'm going out of my way to do this for you, and you're just making it difficult.
Can we now give some love to our viewers?
Yeah, let's go. Because I could. Yeah, we need.
First of all, Kirsty St. John. Hello, #late. Sorry, Kirsty. Right. Better late than never. Thank you for being here. She was an awesome guest as well. Premier bookkeeper.
Very good.
It was great. I think some of these actually been answered, Callum, as you were talking, but I'll read them out anyway. Lee Stallard. Are there any stats on conversion rates in SEO via GEO?
I guess in terms, I think what you're referring to, Lee, there is stats as in people clicking through and converting. I think this comes back to the point of what we've seen within that trend in zero-click traffic, that whilst for many that traffic has been decreasing, they've seen better quality conversions. I think there's still more to come on this. There was some really great research last year, actually, that Google started to push out amongst this, and I think they're due to revise that again this year. So I think in the summer, I'm hoping that there'll actually be some pretty tangible stats, but I would expect the GEO stats to be stronger, would be my gut feel.
Cool. Fun thought from my brain to my mouth to you. I am so indoctrinated with the industry I've been in. Whenever you say the word zero, I spell it with an X in my head and think of the brand, not the number. That's how messed up my brain is right now.
Kool-Aid.
Yeah, you kept on saying like zero click, and I was like, what the hell is zero doing with the clicks? I'm like, no, he means zero, the original way it was spelt. They
Brand
are good at their
loyalty
marketing.
was,
The,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
number came before the software.
Yeah. Marcus Batson, again, long-time friend of the show. Hola, amigos. I assume that's how we said it, because hola, amigos on GEO. What's your advice on making sure it's aligned with what people are actually searching for, not what they think they're searching? That's a deep question, Marcus.
He always asks
It is,
good questions.
That's a really
I
good
think-
question.
Yeah, and I think with Geo, it does, or GEO, not Geo. I've not just like made a name for it. But I think
Go.
part of that does come down to as well the key search terms and what you want to be found for. So it's very similar to SEO in terms of if your business it operates and it's very niche and it's geographic within a certain space, you want to probably stick to those search terms. But again, it's thinking of those terms of most recommended, most trusted. Those are the most common things that people are searching for from a GEO perspective, because it's that language change. So instead of just saying, businesses near me or whatever, they're asking for most recommended, most trusted. So it's probably thinking of those two pieces of terminology, I would say to that.
As a percentage, how often are you mistaken for the famous rally car driver whose name is Colin? What's Colin?
I would say minimal, like 5%. But I do often get asked if I'm if he was my dad, rather than the person himself, because I'm not Benjamin Button as much as I might look it. But he was a lot older. But I have been asked many times, if I am related. What's bizarre as well is that I did actually have an uncle Colin, so.
No.
Mm.
that plays itself quite nicely to that.
Because I don't usually do research for this show, but today I actually researched and I noticed that Callum Macrae, the rally car driver, spells his name differently. Because I was going to ask you that question online, but now I'm ahead of the game because I didn't ask that dumbass question. Callum, if you could punch one fictional character in the face and get away with it with no repercussions, no judgment, which fictional character are you punching in the face?
Fictional character.
Yeah, we can't do real people because we don't.
Okay.
I mean,
I've got this only because I watched the trailer last night and I want zero judgment, because I am that person who is very excited for a certain sequel coming out next month of The Devil Wears Prada. It's one of my favourite films. And for those who haven't seen it, obviously Meryl Streep plays the famous Vogue editor Anna Wintour, or it's a play on that. So I would say I'd slap Miranda Priestley or punch Miranda Priestley, not because I dislike her, more to see if she'd react. And I feel like she'd probably blink once, judge me silently, and I'd immediately regret every life choice I've ever made.
Look you up and down.
Yeah, I'd be completely okay with that as well. That would be the exact reaction that I'd want. So yeah, I'd probably say
between the original and the sequel, right? Because the Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah, there is a big gap. Yeah,
20 years.
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah.
2007, 2008, maybe.
That's a great answer, by the way. Thank you. Really good.
Again,
first that came to mind.
Yeah. Callum, do you drink tea or coffee when you're supping on beverages?
Coffee.
Over to you, Tony.
Okay. So we've turned this into a forked question. So you've chosen the coffee route. So the coffee arm of this question is, if we can all agree that sort of like your local artisan home cold brew coffee is like the peak. Imagine that didn't exist and you were in a world where you needed a coffee and there was only the coffee chains available to choose from.
Okay.
Which one, and you've got full choice, which one would you go to? Which one would you jog on by? What's your favorite? What's the one that you would like to see in the bin?
Favorite, Nero. Least favorite, in fact, it goes to far as say I despise it, would be Costa.
No.
Finally.
Just when I thought we could be friends. Just when I thought we could be friends, Callum. So for the record, where we've asked it several times, Tony and I keep a mental note. Costa have been winning because they're my preferred go-to. Starbucks have been losing because they're Tony's preferred go-to.
Badly.
And you're the first person to say Costa in a long time, maybe first time.
Yeah, not a fan at all. I just
can I ask why?
Why are you not a fan? Yeah.
I just think the quality of the product's not great. I think it's just I feel like it in terms of a compared to all the others like Starbucks, Nero, I think Costa's probably just worst product. I'm just not a fan of it. I think I've never really got on board with Costa, unfortunately. Lovely people that work there, I'm sure.
We're
But
friends for a reason.
Totally
my reasoning is the sizings. Predominantly, I agree with you on the product. I just have a preference for other coffees. But the sizing is the thing that gives me the problem. So I like a flat white because I don't like a big milky coffee, and you buy a flat white and it's a latte. So if Kirsty put me onto this one, if you order a cortado, it's not quite a flat white, but it's smaller than a flat white. So if you're someone that likes smaller amounts of coffee because large milky coffee drinks are not your bag, then that is a hack that can work if you are stuck with only Costa and you need a coffee. So yeah,
I think that's the thing with Costa is I just think everything's milky.
Dale drinks it. So you drink it black, don't you, Dale? So
drink it neat.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. I think.
How do you have your coffee? How do you take your coffee, Callum?
I'm a flat white and a cortado guy. So yeah, mainly flat white.
You both need to man up and just drink it black bitter like me.
I actually do sometimes. I quite enjoy it.
Yeah, I don't mind a black coffee, but if I did it, it'd probably be Nero.
Oh, Stephanie Marshall's in the chat. What up, Steph? Yes, Callum, coffee. She's coming on the show in a couple of weeks, maybe months.
Oh, I love Steph.
She's awesome. And do you know what she's really nice?
Great.
She thought the name of the show was called For the Mother Cube.
I like that.
And I actually think that's possibly better.
Got a ring to it.
It could be better
than our actual show. We might have to change our branding and everything called For the Mother Cube. It sounds like a Samuel L. Jackson kind of.
If we were to go through a rebrand, would you be able to support us in that?
Of course. I feel like I would guide you through that process.
Wait. How much would you charge us for that support?
Well, you know.
Exactly. Because we can't.
You mentioned money. I just asked if you would support us.
Yeah, he'll say yes, and then he'll quote us and be like, yeah, we're good, mate.
He steps back and it all goes horribly wrong. I was nothing to do with that.
Oh, you know what? Let's get some audience engagement with that. Let's get some audience engagement with that one. AI clip this bit up. Should we change the name of the show from Flabonga Monthrothacube, which is really hard to say, to For the Mother Cube?
Yeah, we're going to need a lot of votes for this. At least 3.
But at least 3. I mean, that's the maximum amount of votes we get. Our views peak later, Callum. So like lives, we might get maybe 10, 15 people live, right? And then like 3 months later, it'll be like, you've had 3,000 views. I'm like, oh, cool. Bang.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
I've got a question for Callum. Since how we've actually no, Dale, have you got anything to say, mate? Because I realise we've spoken quite a lot today for me. So
I kind of want to ask him the tea question because, like, even though he chose coffee, I think we can still ask that one and cause controversy because this show is all about controversy.
All right, do you want to do the tea question then? Because yeah, cool.
So, Callum, again, veterans of the show, Catherine Frimmed and Marcus Batson started some fake news on each other about how tea should be made. Now, you might not drink it like me because it's filthum, but you have to make it for other people.
Correct.
What is the order in which you make your tea? So when's the milk going in? When's the tea bag going in? When's the water going in? And sugar if needed. What order is that happening in? Very important stuff.
Sure. So yeah, I don't mind an occasional cup of tea, but I am a coffee drinker. So tea bag in cup, hot water, up to the mark that you feel appropriate before the milk goes in. Leave the tea bag to stew for 2 to 3 minutes. So just walk away. Don't stand and stare at the coffee cup. Just leave the tea stew. Yeah. And also, yeah, I don't abide by the whole whack the spoon across the side and scrape the tea bag up. Just when you then go to remove the tea bag, just remove the tea bag because you've left it to stew for long enough. So you don't need to squeeze the spoon, and create this unnecessary friction. No, just remove the tea bag, put the tea bag in the bin, and then I only like a little bit of milk in my tea. Again, I've got a thing about milky beverages, as you can see. So just a little bit of milk and then sugar after would be my order. And that's the correct order. No questions asked.
Do we have permission to clip you up? Because your voice was beautiful just then. Like you were giving instructions on how to make tea was beautiful.
It's almost like it's going to be in that Calm app, isn't it? Like Matthew McConaughey, like when he talks to me at sleep at night, which is what happens.
He talks to me at sleep at night. Matthew, I want to go to sleep.
Great. It's
all
great.
All right.
I think that it's like one of those ones when people are like when Tom Hardy does CBeebies bedtime stories. I don't have children, but guaranteed that's the only time that I would watch CBeebies bedtime stories, and just to have that listening in the ears, it's great. So yeah, sure, I'll be some CBeebies bedtime clickbait.
It might surprise you to know that more people, so up to the point of you putting sugar in it, we were identical. Teabag out before the milk, right? Most people put the milk in with the teabag still in it, which I was surprised at because I thought that was just obviously not what you did, but apparently that's not the case. So
that's an abomination. Just take the teabag out.
I agree, Callum. You make it the correct way, 100%. 2 thumbs up. You're right.
Thanks.
I would give you an award, but
yeah,
we still owe Catherine Frimond Guest of the Year award. Haven't made it yet, so sorry.
No, I just take the acceptance that I was right. That'll do. Thanks very much.
So you need a warm glow of being correct. It's a good place to be.
The subtle smugness of being right.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah. Should we do serious questions or joke questions again?
Take your pick. I'm an open book.
All right, what are you reading at the moment? There you
go. What am I reading at the moment?
Not work related. If you are reading anything not work related.
I'm actually not reading at the moment. I've not read for a little while, to be fair. I've got quite a lot of recommendations, but I'm not reading at the moment. I tend to be a bit of a routine where if I get in bed, I'll put an AirPod in, podcast in the ear, and then go to bed that way. So yeah, not actively got a book on the go at the moment.
Okay.
I really wish, right? So like you've got like Blinkist and those like summary ones, right? So I think they're quite decent as a sort of selection tool for like books I want to read more, because I buy into the theory that most books could just be a long blog post and actually they've got 1 or 2 core ideas and then a lot of filler in most of them. But for some reason, my brain forces me to get through them, even if I feel like I've got out of it. What I would really like is if they were like, because I struggle with reading. My brain doesn't really like doing it. And it's not that often that a book absorbs me so much that I'm kind of like, I really want to read that book. I would really like it if the world, so if anyone who's listening to this could make this happen, really appreciate it, a bit like the reviews thing, that they could make like TV programs about books, like a sort of documentary that explained the book in a TV program. So you could get the depth and take the ideas of the book on, but in a passive way, rather than me having to actively force myself to read, which I find challenging. My brain doesn't really like, apart from in odd, rare circumstances where it finds a really engaging story. But that is probably 1 in 50 books that I pick up. So, and I also have children now, so I've stopped reading in the last since I had them. So, yeah,
it might be a very obvious comment, but a lot of books are obviously adapted for TV, though, like in that sense. Or
I don't read fiction at all. So I'm always like document, like autobiographies and like I guess you could categorize as like self-help business books, like that sort of stuff.
Okay,
that's my zone of it. So
I was not just about to tell you that TVs and films are adapted from books, Tony. No, that's yeah. No, I get
about what genre I was talking about, Callum.
No, I get. No, I get that. Actually, I do get that, and because I've got this issue with
Notebook.
So with documentaries, sorry, sidetracking here, rabbit hole. So police ones are probably like the ones that get me the most because I have a bit of an ick, and my other half hates me for this. So I don't like documentaries where they then have reenactments. And they have people reenacting who look nothing like the real people, and it's the most budget thing you'll ever see in your life. I just can't get on board with it. So I like the
crime real life back in the day, like
and the amount of stuff that I see that I'm forced to watch, I just can't stand it. So I like things like 24 Hours in Police Custody or stuff like that, where you can actually see it all play out and see the actual footage. The reenactment of people, and then you've got an actor who looks nothing like it and it's just acted out terribly. No, thank you.
So does that like, so I'm thinking of the Post Office Scandal series with Toby Jones in it, and then they played the whole thing through, and then they get to the end and you see the actual people and you're like, they look nothing like it. Does that ruin it for you?
No, that's fine because that's an adaptation. What I'm talking about is more than if it's like you've got, let's say, a documentary and the real person's doing their bit to the camera. So they're talking to the camera about what's happened. And then they show the footage and it's of just terrible actors doing a really bad job.
I know what you mean. They do that dramatized reversion, and the dramatized reversion is the worst C-level actors ever. It's so wooden. You're like, really? Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's like high school production, isn't it? Like low budget. Oh, no, it just really irritates me.
I've just been told by my 6-year-old daughter I'm being too loud.
You're having so much fun, Dale.
I'm being too loud.
Oh, she's got FOMO.
It's my house. I do what I want. Anyway. Little punk. I love her very much. Callum, do you have any kids?
I don't have kids, no. Something that we've spoke about actually quite recently. But no, we don't have kids. Got lots of, well, got a few nieces and nephews, but yeah.
Of the nieces and nephews, which one's your favourite?
I'd probably say one of my nieces.
Okay.
Do I have to give a name? Or
you know what? You don't have to. You don't have to. Tony, you're muted somehow. I don't know why you're muted, Tony. I didn't do it, I swear. You don't have to.
I love them all equally.
Don't lie, because the pause you did before means you don't love them all equally.
I love them all equally.
I was just checking that he loved them equally.
Yeah,
in his mind,
love them all equally, but I'd say that my niece Kira is one that we're kind of like spirit animals, very similar.
And the best thing about the internet is it means it's forever. So I don't know how old she is now, but in a few years' time, she might see this on YouTube.
She's old enough to see it now. So.
Oh, she see it now? Yeah. Okay, cool. Awesome. Banging. I remember asking, Tony, you weren't here for this. Zoe was on. And we asked Neil from Walter's Clear. And immediately he went, boom, said the kid, said the name. I was like, you're the dad, bro. You can't say that.
Gave the reasons.
Wow.
Like, literally, was like,
yeah.
Oh, Callum, how goes clay pigeon shooting, by the way?
Oh no, I know who's asked this. I know one of them's asked this question.
Who asked this question? Who asked the question? Who stitched you up?
Like Zoe, I'm guessing, or yeah.
I cannot confirm nor deny my sources as a good journalist / reporter.
So it's a really good story. Actually.
But you can say it was one of the co-hosts of the show.
Again, I'm not even going to say that.
And it wasn't me.
I could guess it would have been between one of 3 people. So I was on a weekend away with Zoe, Lucy Cohen and Emma Crawford a couple of months ago, and we went to do clay pigeon shooting as the activity of choice whilst we were staying in a lovely Airbnb. And it turns out I'm a pretty good clay pigeon shooter, which surprised everybody, most of all me. The best part of this experience was whilst I was shooting. So, you know, when you're supposed to say to the guy, right, you can release the clay, and you say that word. So I was saying the word incorrectly, and I think the word is pull that you're supposed to say. So I was saying the word call. Right, but did it throughout the whole thing. Nobody questioned me during it, and then afterwards, when I was retelling the story to the gang, and I was like, "Yeah, when I was saying call," and they were like, "Call," I was like, "Yeah, that's what you say, isn't it?" So and I got a lovely plaque for my birthday from the gang, which says "Clay Pigeon Enthusiast Callum Macrae," and it's in my office at home. So yeah, turns out I'm a pretty good clay pigeon shooter, apparently.
That is a fantastic story. Thank you for sharing it with us. That was great. Cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Go on.
Go on, Tony.
I've got a question, Callum, which I think is I find an interesting topic, slight segue, work related. You do public speaking, right? Yeah. I saw a post this morning from Ryan Piercy, sort of talking about his evolution from terrified to borderline likes it sort of thing. And I realized that all 3 of us have done our fair share of speaking. I have in my brain that the speaking things are sort of relatively new thing for you, and sort of have followed some of the posts that you put up about it. So how do you feel about public speaking currently? Do you enjoy it? Any tips or recommendations for people getting into it? Because I know it's a subject that strikes fear into the heart of many.
Yeah, I'd say I've definitely got better with it over the years, and now I actually do really enjoy it. I think the first time I did it, which was back in 2023, was the first time that I did it at Accountex with Joe Edwards, MD of JE Consulting, where I now work. We worked on a piece together for Accountex, and I was terrified. I was genuinely like so nervous before going on to do it. And we tried to make it a bit of fun. We had these really cool like sandwich boards that we put on. So I was representing Gen Z, and Joe was representing Gen X, and we kind of had this kind of sandwich board off, which was quite cool, which made it a bit easier for me to get more relaxed, I think. But it took me a good while to really then, I guess, enjoy it. And now, yeah, I'd say I'm in a place where I do enjoy it. And I think some of the feedback that I've had over the years has been really lovely, actually, because I think, if anything, I think there's a lot of people who can do it, but I'm definitely a person who stands behind. I'd want to do it and add value and give something of value to the audience. I think there's a lot of people that can get up and speak, but
don't say a lot
fewer who can get up and speak and add value. So it's been lovely, I think, over the years, because I've just got a pretty, I'd like to think, authentic, genuine style when I do it. That it's something of value, but it does take a little while to get comfortable with it. And I think I still get nervous like before doing it. But yeah, I think any top tips, I think for me, it's know your content. I've seen quite a lot of people get really stuck with that, and it sounds like a really obvious point, but you know, if you're doing a 30-40 minute presentation, which is quite slide heavy, don't just read off the slides, know your content and make sure that you're comfortable speaking for that length of time. And it does come from, if you did, like, I remember when I did my first solo one in 2024, and that just came from practice, you know, practice. And that made me feel a lot more comfortable. But I think if you're intrigued about doing it, I think panels are a really good way to dip your toe into it, because the spotlight is just not on you. It's more conversational, so it feels quite natural. But that's a really good way of probably dipping your toe into it, because you know there's 3 or 4 other people on stage alongside you, and it's not just you exposed for that length of time. So I would say, yeah, those would probably be my tips. But yeah, I do enjoy it now. I do enjoy it.
I agree. Great tips. I used to throw up before I did public speaking almost every time. I now no longer throw up, and panels are very helpful. So yeah.
I did not know that. That's amazing. It's incredible what people go through before they get on that stage, and that you don't always see, right? I have a story for that I'll share another time because it's too long. But yeah, do you know, it's funny. I was so terrified. I just never done it, and I actively avoided it. And then when I moved into the tech world, I sort of like didn't think too much about it, because it was like, if I look back on it and go, if I'd got too focused on how much presenting I was going to have to do, I wouldn't have made that move, and I would have used it as an excuse to not do it. I find it so I have this strange thing which I've recently discovered has actually got a name and fits perfectly with my experience of it. So I enjoy public speaking, right? And partly that's because I really like the sound of my own voice, and I'm presenting a podcast, yes, especially today has been quite a good example of it. And all those people have to listen to me, which I find great. I really like that. Oh, he loves muting me. It's good fun. But I consistently have people fall asleep in my Accountex talks, which I take as a compliment. It must be my dulcet tones, or they've overdone it on the free bar the night before. But pretty much always there's someone that nods off during my talks. But I get like a bit nervous beforehand, generally not too bad, but just like kind of what feels like the right amount, because you care, because like, you know, there's a reason why you're on that stage usually. But as 5 minutes before, usually like as the mics go on, my brain is terrible for sort of like having lots of tabs open and lots of ideas, lots of things running all the time. As soon as I step onto that stage, it's one of the only places in the world where all those tabs close down except the one that is talking. It's called Spotlight Clarity, because I know that my brain will shut everything off because everything can wait for an hour, which it doesn't seem to buy into normally, and then I can just talk, which I think is why I find so every single significant talk that I've ever done, I will stuff will come to me while I'm doing the talk that I hadn't considered in my brain beforehand every single time. So I've sort of like realized that that's the case, and I have to allow space for that in terms of my preparation for it. So like my preparation is a lot lighter touch than most people's is, in the sense that I will always know my subject and like for the wider, and I'm talking about 10% of it. So that's like vitally important. And I think you can blag your way through it, but it always shows. And I've had to do that on occasions where I've talked about things that I wasn't quite so au fait with. And that's actually thinking one specific talk where I got really good feedback, but probably because it was something that everybody was really interested in, a particular talk. But I will just kind of almost just pretty much just learn the order of the slides and the sort of general theme of what I'm going to talk about, and I'm pretty good at adjusting the time as I go. I don't tend to go over too much on the proper talks, and just kind of allow space for that stuff to come out, because I know it will, which might be a slightly risky tactic. And there's probably a few people listening going, like, I can't imagine kind of stepping onto a stage with your talk almost like it's only 70-80% there, because like you can then get into that I'm talking too quickly, and suddenly as my talk's 12 minutes long and I thought it was going to be 40 minutes long, and I was waiting for the stuff to come, and it never did. But yeah, and I can always say to people that knowing your stuff is like the most important thing. So like if you get tripped up, or you know, just try and take a breath and just go back to what you were trying to say. Like it doesn't really matter how you say it, just know what you're trying to say on that particular slide. And if you can know that, and the only way is through, right? You can't, it's one of those things that you can practice all you like, but until you step on that stage, you can't really recreate the experience of being on a stage in front of people on a panel or as a keynote without actually doing it. So just trying to like,
and even as much as you rehearse and might like kind of prep and do run throughs, it'll never go like that on the day. It's just being comfortable with your content. So I completely relate to the whole 70-80% prepped, because most of the time, once you kind of go down a rabbit hole, or you speak on one particular area, you kind of segue naturally, or your brain pops and thinks of another anecdote or something anyway, which leans into it. But yeah, it's being just comfortable with the subject, I think, and comfortable with the content.
Yeah, and it's fun. Like it can be fun, right? It's a buzz when you come through the other side of it, because it's something that so few people are willing to do. It is a skill that really marks you out as being able to talk to larger groups of people, which is only upside really, unless you mess it up, which is rare, right? But you're talking to larger groups of people to get your message out, which is positive for your career. And like, you know, I know that there are people who I've stepped on stage, not instead of, but they've been relieved that like, oh, I'm really glad Tony's happy to do that, because I don't really want to do it. And like, it's I'd recommend it as a skill that you want to get good at, because it's just so universal across every career pretty much, you know, and a subject that I find fascinating.
Yeah, agree.
Callum, you've been very, very patient with us. You've been a fantastic guest so far. Amazing business insights. Been very cool. Said some personal anecdotes. Dick Cheney. Do you have any questions for me or Tony? Or both of us, or neither of us? No questions whatsoever.
I guess you've done this podcast, you've done this series now for quite a long time. Is there, when you first started it, what was your intention with this, and has it become what you wanted, or has it become more? And if so, why?
Is that to both of us, me or Tony?
Yeah, both.
Tony, would you like to go first, or shall I go first on that one?
I'm happy if you would like to. I've got some thoughts, but yeah, if you want to go first, mate, feels like probably the right.
Okay, so it started off as a bit of fun. It started off as a way for me to learn things and ask people, like ask dumb questions, like, honestly, what is marketing? Because I think some people are too afraid to ask the questions they think they should know the answer to. It has evolved significantly. I didn't think I'd ever have a co-host or other people who wanted to join, but people do want to join. The organic growth has been pretty good. It has morphed into something that I didn't think it would be, right? We kind of have I think Tony and I undiagnosed ADHD, right? But we kind of riff off each other, and we do have a certain formula and format. We've got some trope questions which you've experienced, but we seem to bounce off each other really, really well. I never thought we would get to the level it's at, where we've had some amazing people on, like yourselves, and just people who are just, you know, renowned in our industry around across the UK for what they do, coming in for an hour and talking to us and answering dumb questions. So that has bowled me over on several occasions, where I've got some very serious, you know, clever people laughing at the dumb questions I ask them. So it's changed a lot.
Love that.
So my thoughts. So I joined, obviously, I was thinking about this morning. It's just over a year ago. We missed that anniversary, probably because I wasn't presenting at the time because I was off work. But yeah, and I think that at the heart of it, I am someone that loves having interesting conversations with interesting people, and I would do that. I would love that to be the thing that I just got paid to do, like huge amounts of money, and I just got paid to have interesting conversations with interesting people. But I would also do it if I didn't get paid for it, just like this. So like that, the craft of it, I love that bit of it, right? And that has been fascinating. The conversations that we've had. I love the fact that you bump into more and more people now where I don't have a connection to them, and maybe Dale doesn't have a connection to them, but they're in our world, or sort of in and around our world, who we had no idea liked the show and you know, and tune in. I had a conversation with a gentleman a couple of weeks ago, and he was like, I started listening to it. It took me a little while to get my head around some of the weirdness, but once I did, I was locked in, and I listen every single week. CEO of a tech company that operates in our space has just recently launched. But yeah, and I think that both Dale and I would like to grow the show, and we feel like we're probably at that point of there's a good audience there, and good people, and the guest lists, you know, booked up till the end of June, which is not the easiest thing to do.
That's great.
There's some really cool people. Like, I'd love to have James Ashford on. I'd love to have Gary Turner on. Yep. We've had some amazing people on, you know, like every week there's amazing people that come and join the show and want to come back on the show again, which is, I think, is really cool as well.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we also had terrible people come on the show and want to come back again. That's just the worst.
Yeah. Turning up every week.
I'm joking.
Logged in.
And Tony, I think we both agree. We want to grow the show with some you know, maybe some paid reach, because it's been all organic at the moment. But I think also what we want to do is maybe book a day in a studio and have maybe 4 people come in person, where we can talk to them for like a good 2-3 hours. It will require editing, because there's something said for live, but you know, with online, where Tony and I both, you can tell we're both cautious of speaking over each other, speaking over the guest. If we were in person, it would be more organic. I think we get better insights, and we just have a better quality production or show. So that's one of our goals. Next year or this year, we'll try and find a spot, get some people to London, because it's central, and record a few people face to face in person.
Yeah, I think
get some stuff out.
We've got 2 minutes to the top of the hour. Callum, are you keen? Are you game for the quick fire round?
I'm always game.
Right. Dale will mute himself because he can't not jump in. I will ask you somewhere in the region of 10 quick fire questions. No, Mark, you will always be king friend of the show for creating the jingle that is probably the most catchy.
He also saved an episode. There's one time where a guest didn't show up and he just jumped.
It was that episode. It was the episode, and out of that episode came, or was it a different one? No, me and you were chatting, and he jumped on, and then we ended up with the jingle off the back of it, which was an episode worth re-listening to, which was quite funny.
Anyway, sorry.
Quick fire. Right, first question. What is one skill you wish you had but you don't?
To draw.
Oh, yeah,
as in, like, yeah.
Favorite country you've ever visited?
Barbados.
Solid. What is your favorite food?
Pasta, Italian. Just love it.
You may have actually already answered this next question in It's Your Niece, but what is your spirit animal?
Miranda Priestley from Devil Wears Prada. No. Probably. Yeah.
Amazing. The book.
Or Claudia Winkleman, actually. Sorry, might be my spirit.
Oh yeah, of course, because you're traitors. Yeah. What is the book that you have recommended the most often?
Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Bleep,
yes.
If I can not say the last word. Yeah,
that's good.
Very good book.
I was an early follower of Mark Manson. Most hated grammatical error or mispronounced word?
I think it's become really common with the use of AI, and it is technically correct grammar, but the Oxford comma is very overly used and is an AI marker. So that's a comma before the word and. So if I ever see that in LinkedIn posts or something like that, I always see that somebody's done that with AI, and it makes me switch off. So yeah.
Your favorite podcast?
I really like Dish with Nick Grimshaw and Angela Hartnett. I would recommend it for a bit of a laugh in the morning. They just get great guests on, like A-listers, and it's like food, good chat. Yeah, I would recommend that one.
Cool. Your best, this is one that always kind of flummoxes people a bit, this question. Your best ever 1 in a million trick shot. Think like a hole in one in golf, or like blasting out the clay pigeons out the sky.
Clay pigeon. I'd probably just say clay pigeon in general, because I went into that thinking this is going to be an absolute disaster. And I think I got all but 2. So I actually did pretty good. So yeah.
Cool.
Maybe I've missed my calling.
Maybe you have. So, what? Who are your celebrity lookalikes? Who did you get looking like?
I did actually. That's quite timely, because I did get a text last night from a friend. So obviously the new series of I'm a Celebrity is back on, and I did get somebody say that I look a bit like Ryan Thomas, who's in it at the moment. I've had that a few times. But yeah, that's probably I don't very get many celebrity lookalikes, because I'm just one of a kind, guys.
Yeah, I have a lot over the years. Maybe I'll just drop one.
I've told you that you scarily look like my brother as well.
Yes. We have had that conversation.
Yeah.
I seem to must have a familiar face. Danny Dyer is one I've had a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot. My sister is convinced I look like Danny Dyer. I think we've trended away from each other over the years, maybe.
Okay.
Danny's look is slightly different now, because he's got that great big bushy tash. If anyone's watched his program with the caravans Danny, like actually, that's called Danny. And then who should we have on the show?
To be fair, and somebody I've had the joy of spending quite a bit of time with recently, actually, I think. And you mentioned him before. I think Gary Turner would be a good one for you both. I think he'd be a great guest on this. Yeah, I'd say Gary Turner. Trying to think if there's anybody else.
I spent a bit of time with Damon Anderson recently, and he knows Gary well, so maybe we could get both of them on. That would be a heavy-hitting week.
Again, audience participation, guys. I love it when people love it when they get tagged in LinkedIn posts. If you go want to tag Gary Turner, be on the show, because I'm sure he'd love it. Sure, he'd love it.
Yeah, he would. He definitely would. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. That's the end of the quickfire questions, and we're over time as well.